when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyoncé. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Not up.
Jay-Z is not playing right now. His goal is blood. Also, do you know who lit the fuse? 50 Cent. Evidently, the athletic prodigy who has never given up might have overreached himself in this case. As you can see, 50 threw flames in addition to shadows. Being married to each other. Leaked movies that made people giggle, weird control claims, and secret agreements are all on the table. Everything and everything. Does the industry of queen bees exist? Furthermore, what if the wild stories of the 1950s were not smoke but sparks of truth? Unlike other rap tracks, this one is unique. This is a private subject. Jay, he will no longer keep ignoring it. Right away, he's going for 50. 50 also went all out this time, despite the fact that he has been pushing the beast for years. He didn't just comment on Jay's songs. He basically suggested that the man's entire career is Beyoncé's fault. That's a bold step, going after the throne. In the 1950s, when Andrew Schultz and I got down to record the Flagrant podcast, everything went wrong. In a nutshell, the guy wasn't holding back. With every syllable, I spoke forcefully. 50 Cent went too far after years of being on Jay-Z's neck once more.
Wow, so that's the deal.
Right, yeah, that's the deal. Like, the other ones didn't count as much as that one did.
Offered their support for the awful podcast with Andrew Schultz, implying that Jay's success is due to his influence over Beyoncé rather than his skill or drive. It's true. Jay's wealth is based on his marriage skills rather than his musical abilities. According to 50. They did, in fact, make jokes about it. 50, though, wasn't kidding. He said, sincerely, Jay hit the jackpot by marrying Bey. The wedding was more than just a love story from the 1950s. It was a calculated action. The transformation of his image from Marcy Projects to Madison Avenue gave Jay the boost he needed to become the perfect family man. And that change, in his opinion, expanded brands, created opportunities, and changed everything.
Jay signed his contract. The big one was with Beyoncé. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Not up. Trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, this. Have you looked at this real life?
You shouldn't be concerned if you thought that was crazy because 50 wasn't finished yet. Beyoncé and Jay are seen at a game in a video that has been going viral online, showing BA looking drunk. She is staring into space despite having just opened her eyes. Fans, of course, would attribute it to fatigue or jet lag. In contrast, the 1950s were considerably darker. In his opinion, Bey wasn't just worn down. She'd been given an advance of the match. And there was the real reason she seemed so sleepy, he said. In order to complete it, he pulled out another clip. This Grammy's performance only reinforces the theory, he asserts. Do you have a copy of the video where Jay-Z keeps trying to convince Beyoncé to drink? Similar to actually trying. This is his appearance when she declines. That expression conveys something more than disappointment. There is another element at play here. That's amusing, really unsettling. Why had he been so stressed? After drinking that? 50 claimed that it didn't appear to be a loving husbandry moment. The situation seemed under control. To tell the truth, some individuals are starting to take notice. It's more like an acting and puppet master relationship than a genuine love story between Jay and Bey.
Y'all didn't hear the beat. I heard the beat, but then the beat went away, and she continued to rock and sway. Sometimes when you're a musician, if she been in the studio or whatever, the beat is still in her head, and you know she can hear the song, you know.
Not only did 50 think of the idea, for the first time, he is doing what others have been whispering for years. That's when the darkness starts to deepen. People don't know much about Beyoncé's alleged early difficulties. It was reported that before she ever became Queen Bee, she was being given to powerful businessmen as part of the game. Does it sound mad? Then proceed. A look at Bun B's UGK video. In the interview, Bun disclosed that UGK and Destiny's Child had previously recorded in the same building. It was serious business as Pimp C thought about just introducing himself to the women. But although Beyoncé smiled and was a huge fangirl, her father, Matthew Knowles, had a different notion. He didn't want Pimp C to date her because he was in love. Rather, he wanted to make himself and Beyoncé more famous. Things start. Together, as though she wasn't just advancing in her career, Beyoncé was buried. She had been in their sights from the start. In addition to thwarting Matthew Knowles' plan, guess who didn't? Jay-Z. From now on, it becomes more bizarre. Jaguar Wright said that they had years of training for the position she currently plays. How crazy do you think that is? Look at it more closely. Everybody had Beyoncé. Fame, wealth, skill, and beauty. What was the reason for her dating a man who had been placed on probation for assault with a knife? Indeed, one admirer pointed out that Lance Rivera was stabbed by Jay-Z in the music business when he was in his 30s.
He ain't show up. No, he had like 20 now. He had like 18 since he been down. He had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
Though he pleaded not guilty, he was given a probationary sentence for third-degree assault in 2000. The timeline is now accessible. Bey claims that she and Jay started dating in 2001 or 2002. Thus, she got engaged while he was banned for stabbing a man he is currently on probation. She married him after that, and they had 3 kids together. Actually, who does that? Most individuals would not even text someone with that record again, let alone live with them for the rest of their lives. If it wasn't love, it would have been plotted. Jay made an agreement with her father that was advantageous to both of their careers. You know where the real kicker is? Finally, when women start to feel constrained in comparable situations, they resist. The Jay for me, it was too much danger. According to Jaguar, he had greater hopes than Beyoncé. It was power he wanted. Full power. What allowed him to go on? He might have given her narcotics, according to the rumors.
There's something so intriguing about that couple. Like, even though, like, it makes it more interesting because you don't know what they were talking about. Like, are they having an argument?
Can we reenact it and let's see what they were talking about?
Now, I told you I wasn't about to get any popcorn now. I'm just tired. I'm flawless, and I'm tired, Jay-Z.
But what about some juju beads? I like juju beads. They taste.
I mean, yeah, I know, but it ain't about that right now.
Whoppers. Well, if you don't do it, I'm gonna put you where Solange is at. You can't even see her.
Oh, really? It's like that now? Okay, so let me...
Given the events between Diddy and Cassie, it does sound like a conspiracy. All of a sudden, doesn't the Beyoncé and Jay-Z concept seem less unlikely? And it's not. Merely rumors either. As time has passed, further artifacts have surfaced that offer hints to BA's alleged operations. One is very noticeable and insane. The thing was asterisk refers to a celebrity who possesses all of the following: notoriety, attractiveness, a devoted spouse, talented kids, and remarkable global success. A Class A molecule, however, provides the energy required to keep everything in balance, according to some. She has one thing that sustains her despite the crazy nature of notoriety. It was once only an unusual occurrence, but according to that source, it is now a regular requirement.
There's a lot of our guys in there. There's a ton of Rap-A-Lot guys in the building. And Destiny's Child is recording in another room in the studio. Okay. And so Pimp goes in, they're like, Destiny's Child over. He's like, oh, I want to meet them. They tight. He goes in and he introduces himself. And I guess Beyoncé was kind of taken aback that she was beating Pimp C. Again, this was before Destiny's Child was a worldwide phenomenon. And so he comes back in the studio and we're recording and hanging out, and Matthew Knowles comes in and he asks Pimp, can I talk to you for a minute? And so they leave out for a couple of minutes and Pimp comes in and he's dying laughing. And we're like, what's wrong? He's like, yo, Matthew Knowles just told me to f his dog.
Even those closest to the catastrophe were taken aback by its magnitude. Although they were aware that she was cool with cannabis, her items nevertheless caught them off guard. That would not be so shocking though, given her background. Jay has a well-known background. Dealing was part of the hustle he started in the streets. Allegations have also been made regarding Beyoncé's own family. The two topics of coping mechanisms and background stresses are basically combined into a single statement. Commenting, it's way more than just old stories. The prior drug use of Jay-Z was mentioned by Faze and Love. The plot still involves that. People would therefore view it as regrettable if Beyoncé became embroiled in the same circumstance. Certain individuals may say the whole thing had been written out. Jay-Z has been transparent about his history, so he's accustomed to it. The Marcy homes, his former haunts, was the subject of an unusual interview with Oprah. His emphasis on the fact that survival, there was genuinely a question of life or death, was not hyperbole.
Saying the success is derived from the marriage.
I've absolutely been treated different.
The accolade. Because he's no longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's.
Oh, wow.
You were connected to the biggest.
Jay got it for the music.
Jay got it for the music. Now he see, you didn't see, Mister, he deserved those. Those shit interviews like this, right?
And the crack epidemic hit neighborhoods in the 1980s. To get money, 13-year-old Jay started selling drugs. Jay had lost his father when he was 11 years old. Like many kids in his neighborhood, he had a deep admiration for the street sellers on the block. To paraphrase Jay, you had to operate with integrity on the streets. Repercussions were in place of going to court if you breached your word. He's someone you'd have to deal with directly. There, he learned the rules: loyalty without excuses, sincere. But this is the twist. Jay already knew the exact strategy if he really wanted to dominate Beyoncé, as some have said. His childhood home was close by. He had personally seen the power of pollutants. He observed how they were emotionally and physically confined. The second question is whether there is any solid evidence to back up any of those theories. At this point, things start to get a little unsettling. Throughout the years, body language experts have expressed their opinions, pointing out certain unusual situations. When you look at this photo of Jay and Bey walking together, it seems perfect. However, Blanca Cobb, a body language specialist from North Carolina, says something isn't adding up.
Trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop.
People, guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started on.
It would feel more natural to walk side by side, she continued. Instead, the atmosphere, the energy, and the mindset all suggest mastery over comfort. They seem to be gliding through time in one image, with their lower bodies moving in perfect unison. From the outside, everything appears lovely. Jay-Z's hand on Beyoncé may be holding her back a little, but she is still grinning. Her face lit up. She hasn't got any stiff toes. Simply put, I understand you. Keep close, it is somewhat odd, but not entirely wrong. It's just another of those situations where you move on with a smile. One more picture then sparks a lot of conversation. Fans could tell something wasn't right with just one look. Expert in body communication, she thought Blanca Cobb was just as straightforward. Neither her waist nor her back is being held by Jay's arm. It's over by her neck. Don't call that romantic. Clearly, it is possessive and awkward. Cobb. So this is how I would explain it. A message is conveyed when you decide to pat your partner's back rather than their neck. Although it isn't always violent, the primary objective is control. Such contact becomes uncomfortable. That's not too. Say Beyoncé leans in. She does not treat you in the same manner. She has a contorted face. She was rather contorted.
Relationship was a business relationship, financial, to get to the top, to become billionaires. There's no love.
Even though her appearance doesn't accurately reflect her feelings, one thing is certain. Through his body language, Jay conveys a sense of ownership. Although Jay-Z's treatment of Beyoncé is more of a property than a romantic partner may be admirable to some, an increasing number of followers are contending that it's giving something entirely different. Additionally, Bey's reaction to his touch doesn't seem to comfort. According to body language expert Blanca Cobb, Jay is the one that is always petting and reaching out. And that's how he shows his love. Sweetheart, she's simply putting up with. Cobb argued that their marriage was not doomed to fail. However, she did sound the alarm. One cannot judge things based solely on pictures. It is illuminating when one person often calls the other while the other responds occasionally. And that is exactly what is happening. Jay is more intense than Bey, who just lets things happen. Why wouldn't Beyoncé express her love for the man she is married to, given her influence, notoriety, and independence?
Yeah, Beyonce's on drugs. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way. Y'all wish it what you wish it. To stay.
Might have a more complicated relationship than initially meets the eye. One explanation could be that she never had a voice at all. Some claim that Jay purchased her. Prior to the real shock of someone from within speaking up, it was only a wild rumor. The bodyguard she had before. Rather than merely speculating, this individual was present to observe everything. He said that those were actual whispers. He claimed he and Jay were legally married and backed the theory that she was a drug user. Here, it gets really eerie. The Ronald it was Beyoncé's former bodyguard who gave away all the behind-the-scenes details. He's gone now. Not long ago, he was delivering startling statements on the internet. Poof, and it's gone. No warnings, no farewells, just stillness. In addition, fan theories are getting out of control. There are also hypotheses that Ron may have died inexplicably. He fled because he knew too much, they say. For speaking the truth, he was singled out. Moreover, taking into account his comments on Beyoncé's drug use and Jay-Z's purported control methods would surely make someone want him to remain silent. The fact that his claims don't appear so ridiculous when you consider other stories makes them even more ridiculous. A music producer claims Beyoncé poisoned herself by taking too many 5-hour energy shots. Over 40 hours passed while she tried to record 6 tracks in one sitting. Most people would have slammed the brakes, passed out, and gone home, said the reporter, but not you, sweetheart. She said, just go on. Despite her body's pleas for her to stop, she was already under intense hypnosis. Heading for the 3rd track of the session. When Beyoncé mentioned that he needed a pick-me-up, he didn't even move. She resumed shooting as if nothing had occurred. Commitment was insufficient. Survival mode had a whole new level. It also shows a person pushing himself past his breaking point all the time. Are you aware of the forthcoming events? When Beyoncé overreacted, the producer was taken aback. She started making travel plans after the recording session. She was not feeling well. There was a thought as she shoved it over the edge. When the news broke, several fans cheered and called it next-level hustle. Doesn't that imply commitment? A completely different scene, however, becomes apparent when you stand back. In order to reach her objectives, BA is willing to utilize drugs and doesn't think twice about pushing herself to the limit. However, other supporters contend that she's just used to that never-ending grind. But doctors think her neural tissue has been harmed by years of pounding and dosing. Now she must have it to stay alive. It's clear that there are far too many warning signs in this marriage. No one else is willing to confront the types of questions that 50 Cent is posing directly. Is Beyoncé feeling burdened? The next person to silence 50 would be Jay-Z. Do you consider that to be unrealistic? You may have missed the list of celebrities that suddenly got out of the spotlight after a fight with Jay-Z. What do you think, though? Please feel free to leave a remark below with your thoughts. To view more amazing breakdowns, click like and subscribe. Remember that bell because we have a lot planned.